Join us as we show you how we've transformed our garden from how you see it now
into this.
This garden was dominated by a very large piece of lawn. We've dug that up, we've made a central path, we've made borders, we've planted, and now it is transformed. It has gone from this to this. The largest part of lawn, which is the first bit of lawn you come to when you come into the garden, the biggest part, that is going completely. We're having a nice path going virtually through the centre, so as you come around the side of the house, you'll be able to follow the line and go straight into the centre, and that will then lead you to where the seating area is going to be that Andrew's talking about. So the rockery is going, that's going to get dismantled. Rockery is going, and that's where the seating area is going to be, and that path's going to lead you up to the seating area. On either side of that path, where the lawn is at the moment, we're going to have a smaller border so that we have a space with the existing path to peg our washing out, because that's very important. We still need somewhere to dry clothes. So on the other side of this path we're going to create, we're going to have a much larger space of planting, and this planting is going to be a lot more of the kind of planting which we've tried to do a little bit in the smaller borders, but this is going to be mainly prairie style planting. So a lot of those type of kind of plants that you would normally find in that kind of setting, and also in larger groups, so much larger groups than just your 3s. I'm going to try and go for 5s in the very least, and maybe even 7s as we go along and start to propagate more. So we're going to see, as we approach the lawn where it is now, there's going to be a path like I've said, and on one side more of a shadier style, thinner border, and on the other side we'll go right back to the fence, and we're going to have lots and lots of planting. The rockery here has pretty much divided this garden for many years into 2 portions. The portion of the grass and the portion which is beyond this, which is the borders and the central border there. In order to improve the feel of this garden, this rockery has to go. We want to utilise this space where we get glorious sunshine and have a lovely seating area where we can be immersed in the garden, immersed in the plants, and feel the enjoyment of being surrounded by all those beautiful flowers. So the first thing that has to go is this rockery, and we're going to use the plants in the new beds that we're going to create. We're also going to use all of these rocks, because these are going to line the path that we're going to create that takes us to this central area. Now this used to be a nice waterfall which used the trail into a pond which is just on the other side. So I'm assuming there's going to be the potential of electrical wires when I'm dismantling this. So we need to be extra careful and vigilant, because the last thing we want to do is to be digging and breaking up any electrical cables. The first thing we need to do is transplant these plants into a holding bay. I'm going to use some part of the vegetable bed just behind me to house some of these plants, but I'm also going to pot a lot of them up into containers so that when it comes to having the borders and getting ready to plant the borders, we can then place these pots out exactly where we want them. It's also going to mean a lot of soil that we can reuse and place in other areas of the new bed once that has been created. So without further ado, let's get all of this transplanted.
I'm making some changes today in the garden. Plan is to start the path. Now I have a cane laid at my feet there, and this is roughly the width that I want the path to be. This is enough to get a wheelie bin down, up and down the garden when I need to do anything, need the bin to collect anything. As long as we can get the bin down there and walk down there comfortably, which we will be able to, that will be amazing. Now, I'm going to start with basically digging out the lawn and then take it from there. It's going to be a bit of a messy job, but I've been looking forward to this because there's one thing for sure: these changes, we've been wanting to take everything to the next level for quite a while now, and these changes have needed doing for quite some time. So we've been planning them, and now's the time to get working. So there's nothing scientific about this. The idea is that I just go along, and I'm using this half moon spade just simply because it's easier to get a straight line on it. And what I'm going to do is, like I say, just create a line along, perhaps not go too deep. And there's going to be some membrane laid, once I take the sods of lawn up, there's going to be some membrane placed down, and then we're going to have slate over the top. We're going to utilise some of the slate that we have in other parts of the garden, and that's going to be used, so it saves us money and creates a great looking path as well. Also along the edges here, we're going to have, to one side, we're going to utilise the rocks that we've taken up from the rockery and from other parts of the garden as well, so it's going to look really great when it's done. It's going to be a messy job, but well worth it. And today's the perfect day. It's sunny, but also very, very windy. And it's just great to be outside working at a time of year when it's not too warm. I wouldn't like to be doing this in the middle of summer. When we used to do garden design and maintain the gardens that we'd created, we used to be out there, you know, in all weathers, blazing sun. And, you know, it's nice to be out in the nice weather, and makes a change from the cold when we used to be out there all the time. But at the same time, it's not great doing a job like this when you're when the sun's shining down on you. You definitely need to wear a hat to protect your head from the sun. What I'm going to do is just keep moving the cane periodically along. That's if the wind doesn't blow it away. The wind's really strong today. It's great for washing. Got some washing on the line. Just to make sure that I don't go too mad with it. But yeah, slightly over, but it's fine. Don't worry. Making way for lots of prairie planting. It's going to be amazing when it's done. Again, moving the cane along. Cane's just a guide, like I say, nothing too heavy. I don't believe in making things difficult. You know, we can have all the lines drawn, and we can have, you know, the sand out and a bit of spray down there just to see where I'm going as a guide. But, you know, to be honest with you, I've been creating paths like this since I was a kid, and it doesn't really, there's not much point in being scientific about it. Takes the fun away anyway, does for me. Some people would need that, I don't need that. Like the freedom of creating it the way that I want it to be. But so long as it is in a relative, well, it should be in a straight line, and it runs to what's going to be the patio area. Well, the decking area. That's going to be really nice because we'll be able to get table and chairs on there. Table's already arrived. Gone a bit over there slightly. That's the importance of moving this along. I don't want it to be too wide, but at the same time, it has to get the bin down and be serviceable. There's nothing worse than creating, you know, like a very narrow pathway like this where you couldn't bring the bin down to the end of the garden. The garden's very long. You need to have access to a bin or to bring bits and pieces up and down. Even if you're doing building work in the garden, there's nothing worse than having a little narrow path. You do need it to be at least that wide. I mean, really, if you think about it, I'm stood there now. You've got a little bit to one side, a little bit to another, a few inches either side. You know, really, some people would have made this wider. I'm not going to, because we want plants to make the statement, not the path. The path is something that we need to get down the garden, to get down to where we need to be, get down to the rest of the plants, to the decking area, to the summer house, to feed the birds, peg the washing out, whatever we want to do. But it's not something that we need to be a great big massive wide thing. we can get away with it like this. Seems like a lot of work. Some of you might think it's quite sad to take up the lawn. Now, this is a working garden. You know, we love plants. We want it to look great. We love perennials. We love prairie planting, and this is how it needs to be in order for us to have the space to do what we need to do. And change is a good thing. The lawn in the centre gets very mossy. It also dies off a bit. It's sodden with water during the winter, so I have an issue with this being waterlogged. This is bone dry now almost. Well, not bone dry, but it's dry. You walk on this in the winter, it's just like it's just water. So, you know, I think it's time to utilise that. Now, it's going to provide us with lots of planting area, lots of planting space, I should say. This whole area, if you look to the side, will be prairie planting, and the same the other side, part way to where the path is there. And we've got to keep some of the path for the washing line, so that does have to stay, really. I think I'm out of breath now. I'm well and truly out of breath by the time I finish, but it's really good exercise. And at the end of the day, you know, it's something that we used to do a lot over the years. It's just been a while, a bit out of practice. In Sheffield, where we're always putting paths in the garden and making changes. So it's been a lot of years since we lived there. So we used to do a lot in the garden, a lot of little pathways and secret little areas that we used to create. Perfect. So that's the first bit cut out. You notice straight away a difference. Yes, it's going to have to be some more took out, it levelled, but it's looking good. We've made a start, and that's what matters. And it certainly helps by me going over with a half moon spade, doing these sections as well, cutting them into sections. It's making it a lot easier. You could actually go along with the half moon again and just do sections like that. You could get the half moon and do that. I'm not going to. Should do really, but I'm not going to, because I'm just going to see how I go on like this first of all. You do it how you think is going to be best for you. If you're going to use these in other areas of the garden, you would use the half moon to try and get these as perfect as possible. You wouldn't get all soil all over them like I'm doing now, and you would stack them safely, water them as well to make sure that they were going to stay alive and be ready to use somewhere else in the garden. Okay, you can't let them dry out, especially on a breezy day like today. But the beautiful thing is, in this case, we don't have to worry too much about that, because we're not using them anywhere else. It is quite a task.
It is now teeming with so much wildlife. We have the bees, the butterflies, the moths. We even have aquatic life in our new pond, including a little frog, which we are really, really pleased with. So with a bit of imagination, a hell of a lot of hard work and digging and planting, anybody can create a space just like this. From that to this.